Welcome back to Women's History Month, where we celebrate two of my favorite things in the world, history and ladies. Today's topic is women of the World War II resistance. In particular, I'm going to highlight 5. I also need to apologize in advance for any mispronunciation of names. Most of them come from languages that I do not speak and have never studied. Let's go. First, Irina Sendler. You've probably heard of her by now, but either way, let me tell you about this incredible woman. Irina Sendler was a Polish nurse who worked in Warsaw during World War II and worked for social welfare. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939, Sendler got right to work. She and her co-workers began forging documentation that would allow them to do what they did next. Through her position with social welfare, Irina Sendler was allowed into the Warsaw Ghetto to check for signs of typhus among the Jewish population there. During these visits, she and other co-workers smuggled out approximately 2,500 Jewish children. They hid these children through a network of Polish Christian families, orphanages, and Catholic convents, giving them false names and documentation establishing these identities. Irina Sendler herself smuggled approximately 400 children in ambulances, bags, and trams. Historian Deborah Dwork credits Irina Sendler as being the instigator and leader of this movement. She and her comrades also kept very careful documentation of each child, where they were hidden, and the false names that they were given, so that after the war they could be reconnected with any remaining family. In 1943, the Gestapo arrested Irina Sendler and beat her mercilessly. They broke her legs and her feet, and she gave them nothing. So they sentenced her to death by firing squad. But her story doesn't end there. Her resistance comrades bribed with guards and broke her out, and rather than run, Sendler returned to Warsaw and continued to work with the resistance under an assumed name until the end of the war. Aside from diplomats who wrote visas to get Jewish people to other countries, Irina Sendler is widely credited as the individual who saved the most Jewish people during the Holocaust. She continued to live in Warsaw until her death in 2008 at age 98. Next, Simone Seguin. Simone Seguin was a French resistance fighter known mostly under her nom de guerre Nicole Monet. She was a teenager for most of World War II, but that didn't stop her. She joined the group Front Tireur Partisan, which I am henceforth going to call FTP so as to not offend the French with my pronunciation, and she smuggled messages on a bicycle she had stolen from a German soldier. She did more than smuggle messages, though. With the FTP, and later the French Forces of the Interior and the 2nd Armored Division, Simone Seguin derailed a train, blew up bridges, and in one day arrested 25 Nazis. She and the FFI were also instrumental in the Allied advance through France after D-Day. On top of that, Simone Seguin was also a part of the force that liberated Paris. She received the Croix de Guerre award after the war, and later became a pediatric nurse. Though information about her is limited, she's still alive and kicking, and a few years ago, a street was named after her. Third in our list, Hannie Schaft. Hannie Schaft was a Dutch university student who refused to sign an oath of loyalty to the Nazis and so had to drop out of school. Rather than take this quietly, she joined the resistance group Rad van Verzet. Like several other resistance groups, the RVV leaned communist in its ideology. With this group, Hannie spied on occupying German forces, provided aid to refugees, and sabotaged the German army, including stealing weapons. She also gathered information and distributed it in underground pamphlets to other resistance fighters. She was willing and able to partake in the more dangerous aspects of resistance, which were often reserved for men, and so she became well known. Hannie Schaft was known as the girl with the red hair. Because of this, she dyed her hair to keep her identity a secret. Nonetheless, she was arrested in March of 1945, and when her red roots grew in, they knew who they had. Hannie Schaft was sentenced to death by firing squad. Legend holds that when the first soldier shot her in the head, he merely wounded her and she called out that she could shoot better than him. The second shot killed her, though. Our penultimate resistance fighter is Felice Schragenheim. As the Nazis began to take power in Germany, Felice Schragenheim attempted to leave the country. None of her attempts worked, though, so she joined a Nazi newspaper and kept her Jewish identity a secret. There, she used her position to gather information and smuggle it to the resistance. Though we know that she was involved in missions to smuggle Jewish people out of Nazi hands, the details are scant. Felice also had an ongoing affair with the wife of a Nazi officer, Lily Wust. Despite keeping her Jewish identity secret, Felice Schragenheim was arrested and sent to a concentration camp where she died in 1944. Finally, Freddie Oversteegen and her sister Truus. Freddie and Truus were only teenagers when a man from the Dutch resistance asked them to join up. Well, actually he asked their mother, but you get me. The man told their mother that the girls would be valuable assets because no one would suspect the teenage sisters. And no one did. They would flirt with Nazi sympathizers, lure them out into the woods, and kill them. Not exactly what those men thought they were getting. Before World War II actually came to the Netherlands, and before Freddie and Truus's parents got divorced, the family lived on a boat and hid a Lithuanian family in the hold. During World War II, there was a Jewish couple living with them in secret. After the war, Truus became an artist and a speaker, and Freddie dealt with her experiences by having a family and pouring her love into it. She is now over 90 years old. I wanted to feature an Italian woman, but I had a very hard time finding individual names of Italian women partisans. But I do have to show you this picture of Italian women partisans. Isn't it great? Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon. Let's try to do some good. Bye!